here guys, got a new video for you today. So let's just get started into it. So let's take it up into standing first of all. So take your feet hip width apart. We're going to do a bit of balance work. We'll get into alignment first of all though. So feet hip width apart and just bring your awareness to your feet and just try and spread your weight out into each of the four corners in your feet. So if you lift your toes off the floor, just ground down through your heels, spread your toes out nice and wide, and then plant your toes down. So feel all four corners of your feet pressing down into the ground, back into your heels and spreading out through your toes. And when I do that, I feel my knees kind of coming into a good alignment, maybe turning out slightly. My hips also turn out a little bit here. So just get your body in a good alignment from the ground up. So soften your knees, make sure they're not locked out, and then we'll get your pelvis into neutral. So tipping back and forth, making each move smaller and smaller until you settle in the middle. And just holding your abdominals in just slightly, and then we'll relax your arms by your sides. So let's inhale, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Let's attach our helium balloons. Exhale, melt your shoulders down as you lengthen up through your spine and through your neck. Just imagine the space is opening up in between the vertebra. And then take a big inhale as you lift up your rib cage as well. Keep your ribs lifted. Exhale, melt your shoulders down as you lengthen your spine. Your chin's tucked in just a tad. And we'll bring the shoulders up again. So feel your shoulders rotate outwards, so that movement's coming from the shoulders, not just your arms. And then slide your shoulder blades down the back of your ribs, let them just slide down towards your back pockets. Elastoplast your shoulder blades into place. Let's bring your arms down by your sides. So we're going to hold this alignment and just loosen off the neck muscles. So let's turn over to one shoulder. Hold that stretch for a second or two, keep your upper body nice and still, and then bring it back to centre and then round to the other shoulder. And just keep that going back and forth. Okay, so knees are staying soft, your shoulders are relaxed down, and just being very gentle with your neck, but maybe just getting a little bit further round each time. Feeling your neck begin to warm up. We're going to do a few more to each side. Let's do one more to each side. Good, and then coming back to centre. So you have a squishy peach under your chin. We're going to squish your peach down, but at the same time think about your head sliding up a brick wall. So you're trying to not bring your head too far forward, keeping it above your upper spine if you like, and then sliding your chin down, tucking your chin in. So it's as if you're trying to give yourself a double chin, that sort of stretch. Feeling that stretch through your upper back and through the back of your neck. And then we'll look up towards the ceiling. And then back into your squishy peach, slide your head up that brick wall so you're lengthening as well as tucking in your chin. Just keep that going. So loosen off the front and the back of your neck and also getting into your upper back muscles, your trapezius. Feeling that there. Just make sure you're not locking out through your knees. We're still in a good standing alignment. Shoulders relaxed down. Okay, good. So let's hold your peach, squish your chin down, and then roll up to one shoulder. Hold that stretch for a second or two. And then relax your head down, start to slowly roll along to the other shoulder. And just keep that going back and forth. Feeling that stretch through your upper back, behind the shoulders, the sides and back of your neck. Good, we'll do one more. And then coming back to centre. So we'll loosen off the shoulders now. We'll just start with one shoulder, bring it forward, up, back and down. So your hand is nice and relaxed and heavy by your side. And just focus on your shoulder. All the movement's coming from your shoulder. So your arm is just nice and heavy. And try and hit all those four corners. Sort of taking your shoulder round in a square almost. Forward, up, back, and then down. So you're getting that full range of movement, full range of motion in that joint. So other shoulder is still, your upper body isn't moving, okay, so just make sure you're keeping everything nice and still. It's just coming from the shoulder, that movement. Just noticing how your shoulder feels. Does it feel quite stiff, maybe a bit clunky? Just feeling the muscles begin to warm up in that joint. And then we'll take your shoulder round in the other direction. So back, up, forwards and down. Just notice if your circle is beginning to feel a bit smoother. Now we've warmed up through that joint. We'll do 2 more. And then just give the arm a shake out and just notice how that shoulder feels now compared to this one. Maybe feeling a bit lopsided. So let's bring the other shoulder forward, up, back and down. Just let your hand hang heavy. And try not to move this shoulder, just keep that shoulder still. You can always pop your hand on it just to make sure you're not moving. Just noticing again if maybe one shoulder feels tighter compared to the other. I'm a side sleeper, so my left shoulder is always quite tight. We'll do 2 more and then we'll reverse that circle. So bringing it back, up, forwards and down. Good, keep your arm completely relaxed. Try not to start bending the elbow, and then that just brings more focus into the arm muscles. We want your arm really floppy and heavy feeling. We'll do 2 more. Good. And then just give your arms a little shake out there. Good. Hopefully shoulders feeling a lot looser now. Let's do a few arm circles. So keep your ribs stacked on top of your pelvis. Try not to lift your chest too much when we do these circles. So big inhale to reach up. And then exhale, stretch your arms out behind you. So giving your chest muscles a lovely stretch, really opening out through the front of your body. Inhale to lift, exhale to open. Keep grounding down through your feet. Keep your pelvis in neutral, knees soft. Just warm up the shoulders again, your chest. We'll do 1 more in this direction. And then let's bring it back now. So big inhale, coming back and up. Exhale, stretch your arms, your fingers out in front of you. Just getting a lovely stretch right down your sides, into your obliques, across your abdominals. And 1 more. Good. And then just give that upper body a nice shake out there. Good. So we're still in alignment, just double check that you're still lengthening through. Okay, so you're feeling nice and centered with your weight in your feet. We're going to do a little bit of balance work. So we're just going to take your weight back into your heels a bit more. So just swaying backwards, feeling the weight just travel back into your heels. Let's come back to center and then just take it forward now. So just letting your weight come forward, more into the balls of your feet and into your toes. Back to center, and then just keep that going. So just taking your weight back to center and then forward. So I want you to imagine that you're a tree swaying in the wind. So you're trying to move as one unit. And let's close your eyes for this exercise. So just bring your awareness solely to your feet, feeling your weight distribute back and forward, but you're keeping it controlled. So you can keep your abdominals pulled in here. Nice and slow. Good, let's do 1 more, coming back and forward. And then just settle back into the middle. Get Get your weight spread out into all four corners again. We're going to sway side to side this time. So let's take it over to one side, feeling your weight transfer to the outer edge of that foot. And then bring it back to the centre and then over to the other side. It's nice and controlled. So just like a tree swaying in the wind as one unit. Try and find a little rhythmic movement and just taking some nice steady breaths, closing your eyes again, feeling the weight transfer across the outer edges of your feet. Lengthening your spine still, relaxing your shoulders. Good, let's do one more and then bring it back to centre. This time we're going to take it round in a circle. So again, keep your eyes closed. Let's take your weight back into your heels. And then we're going to take it round the outer edge of one foot, coming round and forward into your toes. And then around and down the other edge, your other foot back into your heels. And then come to centre. And then this time let's take it forward into your toes and then working it around and down towards your heels. And then up and around your other foot, back into your toes, and then centre yourself again. And then start with your heels this time around, and we'll just do a few circles here. So try and make a nice smooth circle of weight. Find a nice rhythmic movement. Keep breathing, keep lengthening, controlling that weight distribution, using your core. And your feet are working really hard here. Let's do one more. Good. And then just come back to neutral, guys. Well done. Just shake it out now, and then we'll bring it down onto the mat. So let's take it down, lying on your back with the legs bent. I'll just reposition my camera. Okay, so we'll get into alignment now. So let's start with your legs bent. So bent legs. Just imagine lying on some nice hot sand. Let your body melt into the sand. Arms by your sides, palms facing up. So just let your head sink heavy into your pillow. Make sure you've got a slight space between your neck and the mat, so your chin is just tucked in to help lengthen through your upper spine. And we'll take a nice deep breath in. Take that breath into the back and sides of your ribs. And as you exhale, let the back of your ribs just sink into your mat. Just melting down, trying to sort of really leave an imprint with those last few bottom ribs in the back of your rib cage. So sinking down through your upper body, your shoulders feel nice and heavy, your shoulder blades are sitting heavy on your mat. Palms facing up and your arms are just out to the side to let those shoulder blades flatten out. Feeling nice and centred through your pelvis, so sort of sinking down through your tailbone. You're not tipping over into one side more than the other, just having a little shiggle about until you feel nice and centred. And then let's press your lower back into the mat and then gently arch away, so just tipping your pelvis back and forth, making each move smaller and smaller till you settle in the middle. Making sure that your back isn't pressing down too much towards your mat, maybe just pushing it away slightly to bring yourself into neutral. And your feet and knees are hip width apart. And just bring your awareness to your feet again and just ground down through those four corners. So let's go through our corset breathing. Wake up these muscles. So let's inhale, take your breath into the sides of your ribs. As you exhale, let's draw your ribs in together and down. And inhale, exhale, draw your ribs together, and now draw your belly button closer towards your spine without pressing down through your lower back. Inhale again into the sides of your ribs. Exhale, draw across your rib cage, flatten your abdominals, and let's pull across your hip bones. Imagine you're trying to slide your hip bones closer in together. Pelvic floor muscles will lift up as well and engage when we when we switch on the lower abdominals. So let's inhale when you're ready. Exhale, this time lace your corset. So draw your ribs together, abdominals, draw across your hip bones, lifting up through your pelvic floor. Inhale when you're ready and just take a few breaths. Waking up these muscles, lacing up on your exhale. And relaxing your body on your inhale. So keep your hips nice and heavy, shoulder blades relax back, arms and legs are soft. So just any tension, it's all being just focused on through your centre, and the rest of your body just feels nice and soft and relaxed. Okay, good. So we're going to just focus on the upper body, the upper core muscles, and bring your arms up. So fingers pointed up, palms turned in. And then pull your shoulder blades back into the mat. So pull them back. Make sure your elbows are just a little bit soft, they're not bent. So your arms still relatively straight, but your elbows are just a bit soft. Okay, and your arms will end up just slightly wider than shoulder width apart to allow your shoulder blades to really flatten down. If your arms are too close together, your shoulders will be lifting. So just take them a little bit wider. Pull your shoulder blades down. And pressing down through your ribs, so make sure you're especially concentrating on those last two bottom ribs in the back of your rib cage. Let them sink into the mat nice and heavy. Your chin is tucked in. So keeping those ribs in place, we're going to take the arms back and just do some arm floats to start with. So let's inhale, exhale, lace your corset, so draw your ribs, abdominals across your hips, and we're going to float the arms back. We're just going to take them back just to about in line with your eyebrows, so not taking them all the way back to the floor. So we're going to stop here, okay? So you should be able to still see your arms a little bit if you were to look up. Make sure you're still sinking down through your ribs. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset, go back to your ribs, draw them in and down, and then float your arms back up. Good. So inhale to prepare, exhale, lace your corset, drawing across your ribs, sinking them down, float your arms back and press back on your ribs a bit more to stop them from lifting. Good, arms are nice and relaxed but still quite straight. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset, and then go back to your ribs, draw them in and down and float your arms up. Good, so you're feeling this working, these muscles in between your ribs. So often our upper core muscles can get forgotten about quite easily. So just keep that going in your own time. And your arms don't need to travel that far back to get these muscles to work. And in fact, let's just keep them in line with our eyebrows to start with. So we can just really focus on our technique with trying to keep our ribs in alignment, our spine in alignment. Keep your chin tucked in, notice how that helps. Shoulder blades are still flattened into the mat and relaxed down. Good, and then maybe just getting a little bit further back, ever so slightly. Notice what that does to your ribs. Press those last two bottom ribs down a bit more, draw your ribs together a bit more, and then float them up. We'll do two more. Good, and just relax your arms down, just give your fingers a little wiggle there. Okay, so we're going to do a leg move now. Let's just slide your heels a little bit further away. We're going to bring your leg into tabletop to start with. So pelvis into neutral, relax your shoulders down. Let's inhale, exhale, lace your corset, ribs, abdominals, draw across your hip bones. We're going to float one knee up slowly into tabletop. So take your time on your lift. Count back from 5 in your head. Good. So knees above your hip, you've got that right angle behind your knee. We're going to inhale, exhale, lace your corset, and just imagine sliding your foot along a table. So keep your foot parallel to the floor and slide it away from you. Your leg will begin to straighten. So keep your knee nice and soft. Your thigh should still be level with your other thigh. Not letting your pelvis tip forward. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset, slide your leg back in, floating this leg back into tabletop. And then inhale, exhale, lace your corset, keep your leg bent and slowly float your foot back down to the mat. Moving from your hip, so we're holding that 90-degree angle behind your knee throughout that move as you lower. So change legs, inhale, exhale, lace your corset without your pelvis moving. Let's float the other leg up. Relax your thigh, so relax your foot. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset, slide your foot along that table. Go back to your hip bones, draw them together a bit more, lift up through your pelvic floor and relax your thigh. So once your leg is out straight, soften your knee. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset and slowly slide your leg back into tabletop. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset, moving from your hips, slowly float your leg back down. Let your foot just land nice and softly on the floor. So we'll do a few on each side. So inhale, exhale, lace your corset. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, just counting back from 5. We'll do the same when we straighten your leg out. Count back from 5 so you're not moving too quickly, giving your muscles a chance to work. The slower your move, the more of a challenge it'll be. And if this feels too much with your leg out straight, you don't have to straighten your leg. You can just stick with your tabletop legs. So your goal is to keep your weight nice and centred through your tailbone. Try not to let your weight transfer into the sides of your pelvis. Keep it nice and centred. Still pressing down through your ribs. And in fact, if you press your ribs down a bit more, that will just help to stop your back from lifting and arching. So you don't want that space at your lower spine to get any bigger. Just press it back into neutral a bit more. Make this your last move. And then just have a stretch when you're finished. Bring your knees up into your chest. Holding behind your knees, tuck your tailbone under. We'll have a little rock side to side for your lower back. Nice little stretch. So same move but with the arms this time as well. So let's bring your feet down one at a time. Just get your heels a little bit further away. We'll just settle back into neutral with your pelvis. And then we're going to float the arms up, so just slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Pull your shoulder blades down, elbows soft. Press down through those last few bottom ribs. Tuck in your chin. Okay, so let's inhale, exhale, lace your corset. We're going to float one knee into tabletop. Nice and slow, counting back from 5. Still centred through your tailbone. So inhale, exhale, lace your corset. As you slide your leg away on that table, we're going to float your arms back just in line with your elbows, your eyebrows. So leg is straightening, but your knee is not locked out. So press your pelvis back into neutral. Press down on your ribs a bit more. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset. Draw your ribs in and down. Pull across your hip bones as you float your arms up. Slide your leg back in. Good, and then inhale, exhale, lace your corset. Float that leg down. And let's do the other side. So just lace your corset before each movement. Back to your ribs, draw them in and down a bit more. So your arms and your leg is just floating, but all of the work is going on in your core, in your centre. And these arms and legs just feel really floaty, really heavy. make this your last move. Good, and then just bring your knees in again. Let's have a little stretch out. Give your ankles a little circle out here, one way and then the other. Give the feet some love. So keep one knee hugged in. Let's keep that knee hugged into your chest, straighten your other leg out on the floor as you press down through your lower back. Let that foot relax out and then slide your heel out to the side. We'll just open up across this hip, get into those hip flexors, into your psoas muscle. And then if you want to take your other knee just out to the side away from you a little bit, but push down through your lower back and your hips, so we're just getting that bit of resistance across into the hip muscles. And just keep breathing. Giving your glutes a good squeeze, just squeezing that bum cheek behind your straight leg. And relax, slide that leg in. Hug it up into your chest. We'll straighten your other leg away as you press through your lower back. Relax your foot out, slide your heel out to the side, and just hold it there, let those muscles lengthen. And taking your leg out to the side if you want to, pushing back on your hips. Let your muscles relax on your exhale. And then squeeze in your glutes again. And relax, guys. Good, slide that leg in. So we'll bring both feet back down. Okay, so bent legs again, slide your heels a little bit further away. Let's get back into neutral. So let's inhale, exhale, lace your corset. We're going to float one leg into tabletop. Relax your thigh. Inhale, exhale, lace your corset. Slide your foot along that table again. So keep your foot parallel to the floor and just let your legs straighten. And your thigh should be level with your other thigh. We're going to hold this leg out straight, so keep pulling across your hips, your ribs, pressing back through your pelvis, your rib cage. We're going to make some small circles with this leg. So the circle's coming from your hip, okay? So you're not just circling out the ankle, your whole leg is moving. And you want to try and not let your pelvis move. So keep your circle really small. And try and keep it as smooth as possible, so it's very controlled. And you will feel your hip flexors starting to work with this move as well. So just nice, slow, small circles. And keeping your weight nice and centred on your tailbone. Good. We'll do one more in this direction. And then let's do a few in the other direction. So you don't want your weight transferring side to side through your pelvis. Keep it centred. So your circle will be very small. Try and relax your thigh. Starting to burn now. Just go with it. Breathe through it. We'll do two more. Good. And then just bend that leg in and pop it down. Well done. Let's do the other side. So inhale, exhale, lace your corset, float your other leg into tabletop. We're going to inhale, exhale, lace your corset as you slide your leg out along that table. Okay, make sure your small of your back hasn't gotten any bigger, that space hasn't gotten any bigger. Inhale, exhale, keep your corset laced and just normal breathing, but we'll do our small circles again. So your leg is moving as one unit. Moving from your hip, slow and small. Try and get your circle really smooth. Relax your thigh. Hips are pulling in together. So lower abdominals are engaged here, pelvic floor muscles are lifting. Keep pressing back on your ribs, keep breathing. And let's take it round in the other direction for a few. Relax your shoulders. We'll do two more. Well done. And then just bend that leg in, guys. Whew. Feel those hip flexors warming. So let's do a nice stretch for the hamstrings now. So to begin with, we're just going to warm up the legs a little bit more. So lift your right knee up into your chest, and then you're going to kick and straighten that leg out. Just keeping it just lifted from the floor. So bringing it into your chest and then kick and straighten. So this one's a little bit faster. So we're just sort of warming up your legs here. You can use your hand to guide your knee in if you prefer. Okay, so just giving the muscles a bit of movement. Get them warmed up before we take it into our stretch. Good. Let's do 3 more. Good. And then if you have a band, pop your bands over that foot. Press your lower back into your mat. And just when you're ready, slowly straighten that leg up into your hamstring stretch. I've forgotten my band this morning. You can do this one without your band though. Maybe if your leg is straight enough, you can just hold behind your thigh. So make sure your knee is straight. Try not to bend your knee. And just give your muscles a chance to loosen. So just breathe into it. Let them relax. So pulling the back of your hip down into the floor. So actively try and pull it back into the mat, into your mat. And you should feel that stretch a bit more through your hamstrings. Your knee is still straight. Maybe lifting your leg a little bit higher. Keep breathing. Good, and then press your heel to the sky. Point your toes back to your nose. Feeling that stretch right down into your calf now as well. Keep pulling back on that hip. And relax. Let's bend that leg in. Bring that foot back down to your mat. So we're just going to warm up this leg. So when you're ready, bring it into your chest, your knee, and then kick and straighten. Just do that a few times. So keeping your leg lifted off the floor when you straighten it out. Might have a few clunks going on in your hip. I do on this side. So we're just warming up your hip flexors, your thigh muscles, your calves a little bit. Good, let's do 3 more. And then place your bands over if you have one. And we'll slowly take your time as you straighten. Give your muscles a chance to loosen off nice and slowly. Lifting your leg up nice and high. Knee is straight, so don't bend your knee. And just breathe. Other leg is same bent. Good, pulling back on that hip. So trying to pull almost your tailbone and the back of that hip down into your mat. You're trying to sort of squeeze your bum cheek down as well, almost. It's not quite touching the mat, but as if you're trying to. Maybe lifting your leg a little bit higher. And then press your heel to the sky, point your toes back to your nose, and just breathe. And then relax, guys. Good, bend that knee in. Okay, so let's do our shoulder bridge now. So let's take your pillow away. Walk your heels a bit closer in. And keeping them hip width apart. And tuck your chin a little bit more into your collarbone. Let your ribs and shoulders relax down. Okay, press down into those 4 corners of your feet again, grounding through. And let's inhale. Exhale, lace your corset. And now tip your pelvis back. Press your lower spine into your mat. Relax your glutes and just think about lifting up through your pelvic floor muscles and lacing your corset. Good, inhale to come back to neutral. Keep that going. So exhale, lace your corset, lifting up through your pelvic floor as you tip your pelvis back. Press your lower spine down into your mat, but soften your glutes. And inhale back to neutral and just keep that going now. So keep your chin tucked. warming up through your lower spine. It's a very small movement, but depending on how your back is feeling, you might feel quite a nice stretch there. Relaxing your shoulders. So on your next move, let's lift one or two more vertebrae. Just lifting your tailbone a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, just let each vertebra come down one by one as you roll down back into neutral. And again, on your next move, let's lift one or two vertebrae more. Coming that bit higher again. And then keep your corset lace as you exhale and roll down. Let each vertebra make contact with your mat. So we're really concentrating on that lower part of your spine. So I want you to try and make an imprint with the waistband of your trousers as you come up into your bridge and as you lower especially. Ground down through your feet, lift a few more vertebrae again. And just slowly rolling out. And just keep that going, just lifting a few more vertebrae each time until eventually we're lifted into your full bridge. So just take as much time as you need. So we're just slowly getting that movement through your spine. Just a little bit more each time. As you make it up into your full bridge, you want to press your knees away from you, lift your hips, but keep your ribs down. So you don't want your ribs to be lifting, you don't want your back arching, you want your hips lifted but your ribs are down. So you have that lovely straight line from your knees down to your shoulders if you can, or just lifting as high as you comfortably can in your bridge. Your chin will tuck in the higher you get into your bridge as well, so your neck is lengthening. You're going to keep your pelvis tipped back and just let your spine roll down one vertebra at a time. Press the waistband of your trousers down and just let those last few vertebrae come down one by one. Tailbone at the end. And let's do two more. And then when you're ready, pop your pillow back behind your head. And we'll open your arms out nice and wide. And if you're tight for space, you can also just bring your arms in a box shape, bend your elbows. And then we'll cross your right leg over your left, or feet and knees, just bring them close together. And let your knees drop down to your left hand side. Turn your head gently over to your right. You want to try and pull your right shoulder blade back into the mat. And also think about trying to pull the back of your ribs down. So you're getting a lovely bit of rotation through your mid-thoracic spine. And just breathe here, let your hips relax. Good, and then draw your belly button in as you push your knees up to the middle. Let's cross the other leg over. And just slowly drop your knees down to your right, turn your head to your left. Pulling your left shoulder blade back, trying to pull the back of your ribs down as well. And just let your thighs just relax over, let them melt over towards the floor. Good, drawing in your abdominals, push your knees up. And then we'll uncross your legs, straighten your legs out one at a time, bring your arms overhead. Have a good full body stretch here. Put your toes away from you. Sorry, I'm having a yawn. Stretch out your fingers. Give your abdominals a good stretch and then relax there, guys. Well done. So we're going to take it into 4 point. Just pushing up onto your side, and then we'll bring it onto the hands and knees. Just adjust my camera a little bit. Okay, so if you're not so good on the hands and knees, you can always come into prone, just lying down on your front. Okay, so let's do a little bit of work for the back muscles now. So you want to bring your hands roughly under your shoulders, ever so slightly wider than shoulder width apart. And your knees are underneath your hips and also hip width apart. And spread your fingers out nice and wide. Your middle finger should be in line with the edge of your mat. Draw your abdominals in, so your lower back isn't dipping down too much. And your neck is lifted, but your chin is tucked in, so you're imagining you're holding your squishy peach back underneath your chin. And your shoulders are away from your ears. Your elbows are soft, so your shoulder blades are sitting nice and flat against your ribs. So let's do some leg lifts. So let's inhale. Exhale, lace your corset. We're going to slide one leg out behind you and then lift this leg without losing your alignment. Keep your hip bones facing down. And you're just holding that for a few seconds, and then inhale as you slide your knee back in. We'll change legs. So exhale, lace your corset, slide and then lift. Relax your foot. Keep drawing your abdominals in, and inhale to slide back in. Good, so just do a few on each side. Lace your corset, slide and then lift. Keeping your weight nice and even through your hands. Try not to let your weight transfer into one side more than the other. And lengthening your spine. So imagine the crown of your head is pulling away from your tailbone. Okay, so on your next lift, keep your leg lifted. We're going to hold it here and just do some small pulses. So lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. Now relax your foot. Just imagine a piece of string behind your thigh, just above your knee. And try and focus on those lower back muscles. So draw your navel up, lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders. Good, we'll do 2 more. And then slowly bring that leg back in. Well done. Let's do the other side. So inhale, exhale, lace your corset, slide and then lift. Draw your abdominals in. And let's pulse it out. So lift, lower, very small. Relax your foot. Imagine a piece of string behind your thigh. Focus on those lower back muscles. See if you can just engage them a bit more. Really feeling them working. Keep your hip bones facing down to the mat. Good, we'll do 2 more. And bring it back in. Well done. So let's just do a few arm lifts. So we're going to bring the arms straight out in front, like this. So keep your shoulder blades slid down away from your ears. And press your fingertips a bit more into the mat if your wrists are starting to feel this. So let's inhale, exhale, lace your corset. Let's float one arm up. Keeping your shoulder blade pulled back. Inhale to lower. We'll do the other arm. So exhale, lace your corset and then float your arm up. Keeping your shoulder blades pulled down and back. Inhale, float your hand back in. Good, so keep your other elbow nice and soft. And try to not let your weight transfer back into your knees. Keep your weight centered. So what your body might want to do is just sit back on your knees a bit more just to keep your weight back. But don't let that happen. You want to keep your weight centered. As much weight in that hand as you do your knees. Okay, good. Let's start adding in the opposite leg. So exhale, lace your corset. We're going to slide and lift the opposite leg and opposite arm. And inhale to lower. And again, exhale, slide and then lift. Draw your abdominals in. Inhale to lower. Keep holding that squishy peach. So just retract your chin a little bit. Lengthen your neck. Let's do 2 more. And then we'll have a rest in child pose. Lovely, guys, and then sit back on your ankles, give your wrists a little break, give them a little circle out here. And then we'll just stretch out into child pose, sitting back on your ankles, rest your head down. Okay, let's take it back onto the hands and knees. So let's do our cat and cow stretch. So make sure your weight is nice and centred, not leaning too far forward or too far back. Elbows are soft. Tuck in your chin. Hold that squishy peach. So inhale to prepare, and then as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Tuck your tailbone under, send your tailbone down towards your mat, but keep your upper spine in neutral. And then inhale to bring everything back into neutral, and just keep that going. So exhale, tuck your tailbone under. You'll feel a nice stretch through your mid-back, your thoracic spine. Inhale to neutral. So it's just our lower spine that's moving here with the breath. Your upper spine is staying in neutral, it isn't moving. Your elbows are soft, so we're not arching through your back into cow. It's just your tailbone that's doing all of the work here. Okay, we'll do 2 more. Relaxing your shoulders, keep holding your squishy peach underneath your chin. Good. So inhale to prepare, exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Continue that wave of movement up your spine as you arch through. You're going to round your shoulders, look down to your knees, press away from the mat, keeping your weight centred. And then as you inhale, lead with your tailbone, begin to drop your belly down towards the mat. And then begin to look up so you're looking forward, shoulders relaxed into cow pose. So exhale, tuck your tailbone under first, and then continue that wave of movement through your spine as you arch up through your back, press away from the mat, look down to your knees, tuck your chin to your chest, and then inhale, begin to drop your belly, looking forward. Without taking your weight forward, try to press your chest through your arms. Feeling that stretch across your abdominals. Good. So exhale back into cat and just keep that going with your own breath. So don't let your weight transfer forward and back. Keep your weight nice and centred through your hands, through your knees with each stretch. Feel that movement through your spine. Let's do 1 more of each. And then send your weight back into your heels, back into child pose. Let's straighten your arms out. Relax your head down just to get more of a stretch across your shoulders. You can push away from the mat with your hands, and at the same time try to slide your shoulder blades down towards your back pockets. So you're pressing down into the ground, sliding your shoulder blades down your back. Good, and then just relax into child pose. You can walk your hands over to one side a bit more, pressing back into your ankles, just get a nice stretch down one side. Good, and then walk it back to centre, over to the other side, pushing your weight back into your heels. Good, and then back to centre. Maybe if it feels nice for your back, you can slide your hands down towards your toes, turn your palms up to the ceiling, maybe resting your head onto a pillow, and just taking nice deep breaths into the back of your ribs as you let your shoulders just relax down towards the floor, giving your upper back a lovely stretch here. Good, so we're going to push up, bring it into a seat to finish. So if you want, you can sit on a pillow, if you want to. Sit on a little cushion. And just bring both legs out nice and straight. Okay, so sit nice and tall. And we're going to just widen your legs out a little bit. So to about here. And point your toes back to your nose. So giving the back of your legs already feeling that stretch. So imagine your balloons are tied onto your ears. So lengthen your spine. Sit up nice and tall. Draw your abdominals in. So we're not slouching back. Our spine's nice and long. Pelvis is in neutral here. And if your knees need to bend, just let them bend. If it's quite early in the morning, just obviously those legs will be a little bit tight still. So relax your shoulders down. We're going to inhale to reach up. As you exhale, twist over. So move from the bottom of your ribs over towards one foot. And then as you exhale, reach your opposite arm over to your opposite leg. And then inhale to reach again. Exhale to twist. And then we're reaching over opposite arm to opposite leg. Just taking your head down. You can take the other arm behind you. And even you can pop that hand onto the floor to try and press yourself forward. Just giving yourself a little bit of support. So inhale to lift, exhale, twist, and then stretching over. And use your core to help. Draw your abdominals in. And think about reaching up and over. So we're lengthening your spine as you stretch. Keep pointing your toes back. We'll do one more to each side. Good, and then just bring your feet back together. Let's swing them in by your side. Let's come back onto the hands and knees and just slowly take your time. We're going to roll it up. Just like one vertebra, lift at a time. So you can either just roll it up here, let your hands hang nice and heavy, or you can walk up your thighs, but just let your head lift last, ground down through your feet, and then we'll slowly roll up. Okay, good, so back into standing, feet hip width apart, just press your weight out evenly into those four corners, so back into your heels, spread your toes out and press them down. Knees are soft, make sure your pelvis is in neutral, and just draw your abdominals in just a little bit. We're going to just circle out through the shoulders a few times. So just do one way and then the other. Good, we'll finish with a nice neck stretch. So looking ahead, tip your ear down to your shoulder. So try not to move your upper body here, it's just your neck. We're going to inhale, and as you exhale, slide your opposite hand down your side. So not just feeling that in the side of your neck, but also maybe into the top of your shoulder. Just let your head relax over. And just breathe here. Good, and we'll gently lift back up. Let's tip down to the other side. Still looking ahead, but inhale, exhale, slide your opposite hand down and away. And just let the weight of your head rest over. Good, and then we'll slowly lift back up. Let's inhale, shrug your shoulders up to your ears, attach your helium balloons. Exhale, melt your shoulders as you lengthen through your spine. And then big inhale, lift up your ribs. Keep your ribs lifted. Exhale, melt your shoulders down as you lengthen. And lift the shoulders up one last time. Feel that rotation coming from your shoulders as your palms face the front. And then let your shoulder blades slide down towards your back pockets. Feel your chest muscles open out. Elastoplast your shoulders and relax your arms in by your sides. And lastly, without looking down, let's close our eyes for this last part and just take your weight around in a little circle through the four corners of your feet, and just make that circle smaller and smaller until you settle in the middle. So just making sure you've got a nice even spin of your weight into those four corners of each foot so that you feel balanced, you feel centered, and you feel grounded. Thank you very much. Well done. I really hope you enjoyed that class, and I'll see you for the next one, guys. Take care. Bye.